Listen to me. I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. I know sometimes it feels like you're not making progress, but let me remind you of something real simple. Grind now, shine later. You don't get to shine without the struggle. You don't get the championship without the sweat, the tears, the lonely nights. Success don't come with a shortcut. It comes with sacrifice. While everybody else is sleeping, you're working. While they're partying, you're planning. While they're chilling, you're grinding. And guess what? That's exactly what separates the average from the great. Now tell people all the time, if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. But that ain't just a quote. That's a lifestyle. That means doing the work even when you don't feel like it. That means saying a no to the fun, so you can say yes to your future. You're not grinding for today, you're grinding for the vision, for your family, for your legacy. You're grinding now so one day your kids don't have to. So one day you can look in the mirror and be proud of who you became. Grind now, shine later, because the shine will come. Oh yes, it'll come, but only to the ones who never quit. Only to the ones who kept pushing through pain, who kept moving through the mud, who refused to settle. So get up, wipe your tears, lace your shoes, and get back in the game. You owe you. You want success? You want greatness? Then let me be real with you. You're going to have to suffer a little. You're going to have to embrace the pain right now so you can live with peace later. You see, the problem with most people is they want to shine before they grind. They want the lifestyle. They want the vacation. They want the spotlight. But they're not willing to go through the storm to get it. They want the victory without the sacrifice, the results without the repetition. But life don't work like that. You don't get to skip step. You don't get to cheat the process. You got to go through it. You got to put in the work when no one's clapping for you. You got to stay focused when nobody's watching. That's the grind. And it's not supposed to feel good. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to mold you. It's supposed to test you. Right now, some of you are tired. I get it. You're working long hours. You're sacrificing sleep. You're giving up parties, movies, comfort, distractions. Your body is aching. Your mind is exhausted. And you're wondering, is it worth it? Let me tell you something from experience. It is. Every ounce of sweat you pour today is laying bricks for your future. Every early morning and late night is building a foundation that cannot be shaken. The pain you feel right now is the very thing that's preparing you to carry the weight of success. You think champions just show up and win? No, they bleed in the gym. They cry in the locker room, they push when their legs don't move, they train when nobody's watching. That's what separates them. That's what creates legends. The grind is lonely. Ain't nobody gonna call you and tell you to keep going. Ain't nobody sending you motivation texts at 4 a.m. You've gotta push yourself. You gotta tell yourself, this pain has a purpose because the pain you feel today becomes the strength you use tomorrow. Every time you say no to comfort and yes to discipline, you're leveling up. You're building something inside of you that's bigger than muscles, bigger than skill. You're building heart. You're building resilience. You're building character. And let me say this, pain is temporary. It might last a minute, an hour, a day, maybe even a year, but eventually it will subside and something else will take its place. Success. But if you quit now, if you stop grinding because it hurts, because it's hard, because it's uncomfortable, then you'll never know what was on the other side of that struggle. You'll never see how close you really were. That's why I say a grind now, shine later. Because there's a season for everything. And if you plant the seed today, even though the sun is hot, even though the soil is tough, even though your hands are blistered, if you stay with it, you will see the harvest. But only if you're willing to go through the dirt. You don't get the reward without the risk. You don't get to shine without the scars. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop waiting for the perfect time. The only time is no perfect time. The only time is now, right now. While you're struggling, while you're doubting yourself, while everything inside you is screaming to quit. That's when the grind really counts. Anybody can work when it's easy. Anybody can show up when they feel good, but only the elite show up when it's ugly, when it's dark, when it's painful. That's where champions are made. That's the difference between average and phenomenal. You think you're grinding, but let me ask you, was sacrifice? Have you given it everything? Have you locked in and decided, I don't care what it takes. I'm not stopping until I get there. Because the pain you're experiencing right now is just life asking you, how bad do you really want it? And you got to answer with your work ethic. You got to answer with your consistency. You got to answer with your hustle, Every single day, no matter how you feel, you got to show up and put in the work. And when you do, day after day, week after week, month after month, something powerful happens. You grow, you evolve, you become someone you never thought you could be. And before you know it, the world starts to notice. The same people who didn't believe in you start asking how you did it. The same ones who laughed at your grind start clapping at your shine. But you already know, it didn't happen overnight. It happened through every drop of pain you endured, So I'm telling you now, embrace it. Embrace the early mornings, the long nights, the failures, the frustration. Let it shape you. Let it fuel you. Because if you grind out, if you're willing to pay the price, then I promise, one day you will shine in a way that nobody can deny. Let me tell you something, distractions are everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's something pulling at your attention. Social media, people, entertainment, even the simplest things in your life that steal away your focus. And the sad truth is, most people fall victim to these distractions. They let them steal their dreams, steal their time, and steal their success. But you want to know the secret? The real reason why some people make it and others don't? It's simple. Discipline over distraction. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how smart you are. If you can't stay focused, if you can't tune out the noise, you're never going to get where you want to go. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you keep getting sidetracked by things that don't serve your goals, you're just spinning your wheels. You're running in place. It's like you're a car with the engine revving, but the wheels are stuck in the mud. You're pushing, you're hustling, but you're not going anywhere. And why? Because you're distracted. You're letting life's noise drown out your purpose. Let's talk about discipline. Real discipline. The kind that makes you put in the work when no one's around. The kind that tells you to keep going even when you don't feel like it. You want to succeed? Then you've got to be willing to say no to the things that pull you away from your focus. You got to have the strength to turn off the distraction and focus on the things that matter. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter. And that's what discipline is all about. Doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done and giving your best effort even when it's not easy. See, the problem is we live in a world full of distraction. People will tell you to take breaks. People will tell you to relax. They'll say, take it easy. Don't work too hard. But here's the reality. Those same people are not the ones living the dream. They're not the ones who've reached the level of success you want to get to. Why? Because they've chosen comfort over commitment. They've chosen relaxation over hard work. And while they're out there taking breaks, you're grinding. While they're hanging out, you're hustling. You're out there choosing discipline over distraction because you know that every hour you give to your goals now is an investment in your future. The distractions are only going to get louder. The more successful you get, the more people will try to pull you away from your vision. They'll ask for your time. They'll want your energy. They'll demand your attention. And if you're not disciplined enough to say no, you'll find yourself wasting time on things that will move the needle. You'll find yourself giving away your most precious asset, time, to things and people who don't add value to your life. And I get it, I do. It's hard. The distractions feel so good in the moment. Scrolling through your phone, checking Instagram, catching up on the latest episode that show you love. It feels comfortable. It feels easy. But listen to me. Comfort is the enemy of progress. And if you keep choosing comfort over consistency, you will never reach the level of success you're capable of. Discipline means saying a no to the things that feel good now, so you can say yes to your future. Discipline means putting in the hours when nobody's watching. It means doing the work even when it's inconvenient, when it's tough, when you don't feel like it. Let's talk about focus. It's not just about putting in time, it's about putting in quality time. You can sit at a desk for 12 hours a day, but if your mind is wandering, if you're distracted by texts, by calls, by emails, by social media, then you're not truly working. You're just going through the motions. And going through the motions isn't going to get you to your goals. You've got to be locked in. You've got to make every minute count. When you focus, when you give your full attention to the task at hand, that's when magic happens. That's when you produce your best work. But if you let distractions take control, you're wasting precious time that you can never get back. The thing about distractions is they're subtle. They sneak in. They don't announce themselves. You don't realize how much time you've wasted until it's too late. That's why discipline is so crucial. It's what keeps you grounded. It's what keeps you moving forward when the distractions try to pull you back. You gotta have the self-awareness to recognize when you're slipping. You gotta have the inner strength to say, I know I'm not gonna let this pull me off course. I have a bigger mission, a bigger purpose, and I won't let anything stand in the way of it. Every time you choose discipline, you're one step closer to your goal. Every time you choose focus, you're one step closer to success. But every time you give in to distraction, you're pushing your dreams further away. So I'm telling you, choose discipline, choose focus, choose commitment over comfort, choose the grind over the party, choose the struggle now so you can have the success later. Because success isn't a quick fix. It's not about the easy route. It's about staying disciplined, staying focused, and not letting the distractions pull you off your path. You say you want to be successful? You say you want to be great? Then let me ask you something real. What are you willing to give up? Because the truth is, nothing in life that's worth having comes for free. There is always a cost, always. And that cost is sacrifice. You've got to give something to get something. It's the entry fee. It's the toll you've got to pay to get on the highway to success. And if you're not willing to pay that fee, then don't expect to reach the destination. See, we've got too many people who want the prize but aren't willing to endure the process. They want the blessings but don't want the burden. But you can't have one without the other. Everybody wants to win until they realize what it costs. You want to be a doctor, an engineer, an entrepreneur, a champion? Then you got to be willing to give up something to become that person. You got to be willing to make the trade. You can't keep all your old habits and expect new results. You can't keep hanging out every weekend, watching TV for hours, sleeping until noon, and then wonder why success keeps slipping your fingers. But people who make it, the ones who are at the top of their field, the ones who changed the game, they didn't get there by chance. They got there because they made sacrifices the world didn't see. I remember sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of garbage cans. Not because I wanted to, but because I had to. I had to make those sacrifices to become who I am today. I had to give up comfort to get clarity. I had to give up excuses to get execution. I had to give up temporary pleasure to build permanent purpose. And I'm telling you right now, if you're serious about your goals, you've got to do the same. You've got to look at your life and ask yourself, what am I willing to let go of so I can move forward? Are you willing to cut off distractions? Are you willing to say no to the party so you can say yes to the project? Are you willing to sacrifice sleep, social media, video games, even relationships that are pulling you away from your calling? Because success doesn't come to the most talented. It comes to the most disciplined, the most committed. The ones who are willing to do what others won't so they can live how others can't. You got to stop thinking you can have it all without giving anything. Life don't work like that. You can't outsmart sacrifice. It's part of the deal. When you say yes to greatness, you say no to average. You say no to average. When you say yes to purpose, you say no to comfort. When you say yes to legacy, you say no to laziness. There's always a trade. The question is, are you willing to make it? And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's not supposed to be. Sacrifice hurts. That's why it's called sacrifice. It's not supposed to feel good. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to push you to your limits. But that pain, that discomfort, that's where growth happens. That's where transformation happens. That's where champions are built. Not in the spotlight, not in the applause, but in the quiet moments where you're sacrificing what you want right now for what you want most. Oh, so many people are stuck because they won't let go. They're holding on to things that no longer serve them. Old habits, old friendships, old mindsets, and they wonder why their life isn't moving forward. But listen, sometimes you gotta cut the rope so the balloon can rise. Sometimes you gotta leave things behind to become who you were meant to be. Sacrifice isn't about loss, it's about alignment. It's about making space for your calling. You've got to get to the point where your vision is more important than your comfort, where your dreams are louder than your distraction, where your goals mean more to you than your ego, your pride, your fun, your fun. You've got to want it so bad that you're willing to let go of everything that doesn't push you forward. That's what it takes. That's the mindset that separates those who try from those who triumph. I'm telling you, the pain of sacrifice is temporary, but the payoff is permanent. You might miss a few nights out now, but you'll have freedom for a lifetime. You might feel lonely now, but you'll be respected for generations. You might struggle now, but one day you'll look back and realize it was worth it. Every hour, every tear, every doubt, it all led to something greater. So if you want to rise, if you want to go to the next level, then you got to decide today, what am I willing to give up? What am I willing to let go of to grab hold of my future? Because the door to success doesn't open for everybody. It opens for those who are willing to pay the price. And that price is sacrifice. Let's get one thing straight. Nobody's going to hand you success. It's not a gift. It's not a lottery. It's not a favor. Success is something you earn, something you fight for, something you grind for every single day. And if you think you can shortcut the process, if you think someone's going to see your potential and just open all the doors for you, I'm telling you right now, you're setting yourself up for failure. You got to earn it. Every inch, every second, every level. People look at champions and say, oh, they're lucky. No, they're not. They're consistent. They didn't wake up and find themselves at the top. They worked when others slept. They studied when others partied. They stayed focused when others got distracted. And that's the mindset you need if you're going to make it. There is no elevator to success. You've got to take the stairs. You got to show up every day, rain or shine, motivated or not, and put in the work. Because nobody's going to do it for you. It's on you. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start moving forward. There's a dangerous lie that's being sold in the world today. That success should be easy. That if you don't have it fast, something's wrong. That you're entitled to it because you want it bad enough. But wanting something isn't enough. Dreams don't work unless you do. Nobody owes you anything. Not the world, not your parents, not your boss, not your teachers. You have to earn it with discipline, with patience, with sacrifice. You want the rewards? Then you've got to be willing to pay the price. Stop waiting for a handout. Stop waiting for someone to notice you. Life doesn't reward the wishers. It rewards the workers. You've got to make noise through your actions, not your words. Talk is cheap. Everybody can talk about their goals, but very few are willing to back it up with action. That's why success is rare, because the work ethic required to get there is rare. While others are dreaming, you got to be doing. While others are making excuses, you got to be executing. You got to grind in silence and let your results make the noise. Every single day you wake up, you're either getting closer to your goal or further away. There's no standing still. You're either earning it or wasting it. So what are you doing with your time? Are you showing up and giving 100%, or are you making excuses? Are you putting in the reps, or are you scrolling through your phone? Are you taking responsibility for your future, or are you blaming the world for your problems? The people at the top, they weren't born dead. They climbed, they hustled, they failed and got back up. They didn't give up when it got hard. They didn't quit when it got lonely. They didn't stop when nobody believed in them. They kept pushing, kept fighting, kept showing up. Because they understood something most people never will. That success is something you have to earn over and over and over again. It's not a one-time thing. It's not a one-hit wonder. It's a lifestyle. You've got to fall in love with the process. You've got to embrace the struggle. Because the grind, that's where the greatness is built. Not in the highlight reel, not in the trophy, not in the paycheck. In the hours nobody sees. In the moments where you choose discipline over comfort. That's where success is made. It's not sexy, it's not flashy. It's not flashy, it's gritty. It's painful, it's hard. But if you can push through that, if you can keep going when everything in you wants to stop, then you're earning it. Then you're becoming the person capable of handling the level you're chasing. And listen, nobody's going to believe in your dream more than you. So stop waiting for validation. Stop waiting for applause. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're good enough. Prove it. Show it. Earn it. Let your work speak so loud that they can't ignore you. Let your grind scream louder than their doubts. Because in the end, it's not about what they think. It's about what you do. Every rep, every hour, every decision, it all adds up. It all counts. And over time, those small, consistent efforts will stack into something great. But you've got to be real with yourself. You can't cheat the grind. You can't skip steps. You can't fake work and expect real results. The grind knows who's putting in the work and who's not. The grind knows who's sacrificing and who's playing. And the grind will never give you what you didn't earn. So if you're tired of being stuck, if you're tired of dreaming and not doing, then it's time to go all in. No more shortcuts. No more excuses. Just pure, focused, committed effort. Because that's the only thing that earns success. Everybody wants to talk about motivation. Everybody wants to get high. They want to wake up and feel that fire, that passion, that energy. Let me be real with you. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings come and go. You can't build a legacy on feelings. You can't become great by depending on emotion. If you only do what you feel like doing, you'll never make it to the top. You'll never reach your goals if you're waiting to feel right before you move. Success doesn't come to the most motivated. It comes to the most disciplined. You see, motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. Motivation is that fire at the beginning of the race, but discipline is the reason you finish. You're not always going to feel like showing up. You're not always going to feel like grinding. So think you might. But discipline says, I don't care how I feel. I'm going to do what needs to be done. That's the key. That's the difference between those who wish and those who win. The winners are the ones who show up every day, regardless of how they feel. Let me tell you, there were days I didn't want to get up, days I didn't want to speak, days I didn't want to write. I was tired. I was frustrated. I was discouraged. But I still showed up. I still gave everything I had. Why? Because discipline doesn't wait for permission. Discipline doesn't care if you're in the mood. Discipline is a decision. It's the commitment to keep going, to stay focused, to stick to the plan, no matter what's going around you or inside of you. Too many people live their lives chasing that high. They wait for the right song, the right quote, the right speaker to get them pumped. But the truth is, successful people don't rely on motivation. They rely on routine. They rely on systems. They rely on habits. Because those things are consistent. Those things don't depend on how you feel. Discipline creates structure. Discipline creates momentum. And once you've built that structure, once you've locked into that routine, now you're unstoppable. Discipline is the reason the athlete gets up at 4 a.m. to train. Discipline is the reason the student studies for hours when others are partying. Discipline is the reason the entrepreneur stays late, grinding behind the scenes while the rest of the world sleeps. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It demands action. It demands results. And the more disciplined you are, the less motivation you need, because it becomes part of who you are. It becomes your identity. And that's the goal, to make the grind a part of your identity, to make excellence a habit, to make greatness normal. See, when you operate with discipline, you don't need to be pushed. You don't need to be reminded. You don't need to be begged. You move because it's what you do. You grind because it's who you are. You don't have to talk about it. You be about it. Some of you keep falling off track because you're relying on hype. And hype fades. It doesn't last. It's not dependable. But discipline shows up when nobody's watching. Discipline gets it done without applause. Discipline says, I made a promise to myself, and I'm going to keep it. Because that's what real champions do. They keep their word, especially to themselves. I'm not saying motivation is useless. No, it's powerful. It can light the fire. It can give you that extra push, but it's not sustainable. It's not the foundation. Discipline is the foundation. That's what holds everything together. That's what keeps you consistent when the storm comes. That's what keeps you moving forward when the excitement dies down. That's what separates the amateurs from the professionals. Let me ask you, what do you do when the motivation is gone? What do you do when it's cold and you're tired and nobody's cheering for you? Do you still show up? Do you still execute? Because that's what it takes. That's the call. You've got to train yourself to move with discipline, to take action even when it's hard, even when it's hard, even when it's lonely. You want to shine later. You've got to grind now. And that grind is not glamorous. It's not always exciting, but it's necessary. You've got to fall in love with the work. not just a reward. You gotta fall in love with the repetition, the routine, the early mornings, the late nights. That's where the real growth happens. That's where greatness is built. In the spaces where most people quit. So stop chasing motivation. Start building discipline. Show up when it's hard. Show up when it's boring. Show up when nobody's watching. Because when you build that kind of consistency, when you build that kind of focus, nothing can stop you. You become dangerous. You become relentless. You become the kind of person who doesn't just talk about success. You live it. You earn it. One disciplined day at a time. Listen, if you're serious about success, then you need to get one thing straight. Failure is not the enemy. Failure is part of the process. It's part of the journey. You can't run from it. You can't avoid it. If you want to succeed, if you want to be great, you've got to be willing to fail. Because here's the truth. Every single successful person has failed. They've been knocked down. They've faced setbacks. They've experienced disappointment. But what separates those who make it from those who don't is how they respond to failure. Too many people are afraid of failing. They're afraid of looking stupid, afraid of being judged, afraid of falling short. But I'm here to tell you, you've got to fail if you want to grow. You've got to fail if you want to learn. Failure is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. It's the feedback you need to grow stronger, wiser, better. See, failure isn't the opposite of success. You can't have success without failure. You can't have progress without falling down. Failure is what shows you where you need to improve. Failure is what teaches you how to get better. If you never fail, you're never really testing yourself. You're never really pushing the limits. Your plan is safe, and that's not how champions are made. I failed more times than I can count. And you know what? Every single failure taught me something. Every single mistake, every single setback gave me the lessons I needed to reach the next level. When I failed, I didn't quit. I didn't give up. I used that failure as fuel. I used it as motivation to get back up, try harder, and come back stronger. And that's what you got to do. You can't let failure stop you. You got to let it fuel you. And the truth is, failure often comes at the most inconvenient times. It comes when you least expect it. It comes when you feel like you're on the verge of success, and then boom, everything falls apart. That's when most people give up. They throw in the towel. They let failure define them. But not you. You gotta redefine failure. You gotta take those setbacks and turn them into comebacks. You gotta look at every failure and say, that's not the end of my story. It's just a chapter. Now, don't get me wrong. Failure can be painful. It can be discouraging. But it's not permanent. It's not a reflection of your work. It's not a sign that you're not good enough. It's just a part of the process. And if you're willing to keep moving forward, if you're willing to keep pushing through the pain, you'll realize that failure doesn't have the power to stop you unless you let it. It's only temporary. It's only temporary. But what you learn from it can last a lifetime. The reason so many people quit is because they think failure is final. They think one setback means they're not cut out for success, but failure is never final unless you let it be. You can always rise. You can always bounce back. You can always turn it around. As long as you're breathing, you have the chance to get back in the game and keep fighting. What you need to understand, failure is not a dead end. It's a detour. It's an opportunity for you to grow, to get better, to get smarter. Failure forces you to reflect on what went wrong, to ask yourself the tough question, and to make adjustments. It forces you to stretch and to become better than you were yesterday. Without failure, you would never learn what you're truly capable of. You would never discover how strong you are. You would never find the drive to keep going. Everything seems impossible. I know it's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned. I know it's easy to feel like you're not making progress when it feels like you're stuck. But that's the moment when you've got to dig deep. That's the moment when you've got to remind yourself that failure isn't the end of the road. It's just the beginning of the next phase. When you fail, you have a choice. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. You can either let failure define you, or you can let it refine you. You've got to get used to failing, because failure is inevitable. But what's even more inevitable is that you can always get going. You can always keep going. You can always take the lessons from your failures and use them to fuel your future success. Champions aren't born, they're made. And they're made through failure. They're made through perseverance. They're made through the grit to keep going even when everything seems to be falling apart. So stop running from failure. Stop being afraid of it. Embrace it. Learn from it. Grow from it. Because failure is not your enemy. It's your ally. It's your coach. It's the thing that makes you better, stronger, and more prepared for the challenges ahead. The real failure is not in falling down. It's in staying down. So get up, learn from your mistakes, and keep moving forward. That's how you win. That's how you succeed. Let me be real with you. The people you surround yourself with are everything. They can either lift you up or drag you down. They can either help you level up or they can keep you stuck in the same place with the same mindset, chasing the same dead-end dreams. Your circle, your inner circle defines who you are. And if you're not careful, if you're not intentional, you could end up surrounding yourself with the wrong people. People who don't have your best interests at heart. People who don't challenge you to be better. People who aren't on the same mission as you. I know it's easy to hang out with people who make you feel good in the moment. The people who party with you. The people who laugh with you. The people who tell you what you want to hear. But the truth is, they're not helping you. They're not pushing you. They're not holding you accountable. You need to be surrounded by people who are going to make you uncomfortable. People who are going to push you beyond your limits. People who are going to go and tell you the truth, even when it hurts. People who will challenge your mindset and force you to grow. If you're hanging out with people who don't want more out of life, who aren't willing to sacrifice, who aren't willing to grind, then you're never going to reach the level of success that you're capable of. You're never going to reach your full potential. You need a circle that believes in hard work, a circle that believes in the grind, a circle that's committed to success, not just in words, but in action. A circle that encourages you to push through the struggles, to keep going when you want to quit, to hold you accountable when you try to slack off. If your circle is full of people who are lazy, unmotivated, or complacent, then you're never going to get ahead. You're going to stay stuck. I'm telling you, your circle defines your results. You've heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And that's real. If your circle is full of negativity, if it's full of people who complain about everything, who are always finding excuses, who are always talking about what they can't do, guess what? You're going to be just like them. You're going to top their mindset. You're going to start seeing the world through their eyes, and you're going to stay right where you are. But on the flip side, if you surround yourself with people who are hungry, people who are driven, people who have vision, people who believe in growth, then you're going to start thinking like them. You're going to start operating on their level. You're going to start holding yourself to a higher standard. You're going to push yourself harder, work longer, sacrifice more, and rise higher. That's the power of a strong circle. That's the power of being around people who are committed to growth and success. You've got to start being intentional about who you let into your life. Who do you allow to influence your thoughts, your actions, your energy? Because the people around you are either helping you or her either help simple. If you want to get to the next level, you've got to surround yourself with people who are already there or who are working their way there. People who are already living the life you want to live. People who are doing the things you want to do. Because when you see them doing it, it'll inspire you. It'll push you to do the same. But the truth is, it's not just about success. It's about accountability too. If you don't have people in your life who are holding you accountable, who are checking you, who are making sure you're on track, then you're not going to grow. You need people who won't let you settle for mediocrity. You need people who will tell you when you're not putting in the work, when you're not doing your best. You need people who will challenge you, who will call you out when you're slacking. That's how you level up. No? That's how you keep moving forward. Because without that accountability, without that challenge, it's too easy to stay stuck in your comfort zone. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't need a whole bunch of people. You don't need a massive crew. You don't need to be surrounded by a bunch of people who are all talking about success but not doing anything about it. You just need a few solid people. People who are going to push you, encourage you, challenge you, and hold you accountable. People who believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. People who are going to tell you the truth, even when it hurts. That's the power of a strong circle. And if you don't have that right now, then it's time to start making some changes. Cut off the people who aren't supporting you. Cut off the people who aren't contributing to your growth. Cut off the people who don't have your best interest at heart. If they're not helping you get closer to your dreams, then they're holding you back.